Yeah, let's slowly start, like little by little. Yeah, to do some introduction, and let's see, like if we will have more participants to join. But if not, not a big deal. It's already, I believe, good enough. Hi everyone, super glad to be here. It's actually our uh, first time experience in this format on that kind of the events, and it's a great pleasure to see that it's actually working format and people are joining, and I hope it's going to be quite an entertaining and educative one. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Yury Kotikov. I am an operations manager currently at Didi. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the international experiences I might have, and I had quite a plenty, frankly. There is never enough, but I had some. So yeah, just in case, I graduated from IE Business School. It's in Madrid, and I graduated not from Higher School of Economics, unfortunately, or fortunately, not sure, but like I graduated from State University of International Relations, GIMO. Part of our meeting, who will tell you a bit more about Didi, a bit more about our opportunities and the positions that we have, our culture, and just our ways of working. Just put some plus because I got a warning message that no one can see me. Put a plus. Full HD. Sanjar, like, does it mean anything? Full HD. Let me know if you want to clarify. If I'm not in full HD, sorry, doing my best. 4K. Okay. 4K, okay. Good. So, a little bit about myself in a bit more structured manner. So, who am I? Do I have, can I change the slides? It seems it got stuck. One moment. Let me refresh it. Nope. I'm swapping the slides, sorry. Yeah, okay, let's move on. One moment. Yeah, good. So, finally. Basically, my career has, I think, three big parts. Part number one is consulting. Most of my career I spent in the consulting industry, and gosh, I think I had quite enough of that. It was in international consulting at EY. It was the local company, Strategy Partners. It was a boutique consultancy, Global Praxis. It was internal at Ericsson. I even did some pro bono and some startup experience. It was always an interesting part, and it was something that enabled the international experience for me, gotta be frank. But yeah, now I am a bit out of consulting already. Yeah, Strategy Partners Group, Sanjar, yeah, that's the way to go. That was the company. So the second part about my career is that I was a career globetrotter, and I'm still am. Most of my experience last year, like between 2019 and 2020, for instance, I spent in Japan. I had projects in Sweden and Ericsson. I had projects in Czech Republic and Slovakia and Greece and Cyprus in global praxis. Yeah, originally I'm from Uzbekistan, Sanjar, walaikum assalam, indeed. And I studied in Russia and in Spain, like not counting in just the travels for fun, just the career and career projects and consulting projects. That was quite an interesting ride I had before. And part number three, I'm passionate about tech and I'm passionate about media. I recently graduated from Moscow Film School. I am a film critic with a degree. Now I'm part of Didi, of the launch team of Didi Russia, and actually I was employee number 2 in the operations team of Didi Russia. Didi now has, like, I think about Max will correct me, but I think we're more than 100 or 200 for sure. There are many people coming, and it's actually a great pride for me to be one of the first ones here and to drive it from the start to where we are at today. And only the sky's the limit for now. And yeah, my career, I started at Innova Systems. It's an online gaming company, and it was an online cinema project back then in 2011. So it was also quite an interesting ride. So this is how I suggest us to structure our talk today, actually. I'll just to close this topic, and just to show my perspective on this job and why it matters, we will focus a bit more time on the opportunities, on my experience in different countries and how to score it. And we'll talk a bit more about tech industry and media and just the general approach to career. Just a small disclaimer: I'm not a career coach, I'm not a professor, so I cannot give probably a very good theoretical part, but I can tell you some stories for sure, and I can tell you what works, and I hope this is gonna work for you as well. So just in case what I'm not, I'm not a big three consultant, so don't ask me about that, or you can. I tried a few times, didn't manage, so not shy to talk about it. So I don't have like this survival error, when you got in but you don't know how. I didn't get in, so I know what not to do for sure. So feel free to ask about that. I'm not an engineer and I'm not a startupper. My career was focused mostly on strategy, operations, sales, supply chain, a bit of HR. So it's mostly about the management experience. And I'm not into the heavy industries, so gotta be frank. It was mostly FMCG, telecom IT, now it's ride-hailing. It was a bit of petrochemistry and public sector. So I know what it is about, but not a big fan. So feel free to ask the questions about this and not about that, So okay, let's go. Consulting. I think if you have a chance to actually join a consulting firm, that could be a great start for the career, for sure. So why? I think as the students of Higher School of Economy, you know it better than myself, but still, like my perspective. So first of all, consulting teaches you to think structurally, and that's quite a rare skill nowadays. How to stay focused and not to jump around in your thoughts. Consulting introduces you to high-level decision makers. So it teaches you to speak with a C-level type of people, and it's quite a useful skill, useful for all type of professional career opportunities. It teaches you to work cross-functionally, and this is a very important point in a way that if you do cross-functional projects, by default, that would mean that you have a higher impact than just working solely in your function. So that's a positive thing. Consulting teaches you to work hard, for sure. You work 12 plus hours a day, and that's already a good school for that. And the most important point, I believe, consulting teaches you Excel. Yes, Microsoft Excel. Probably if you ask me what's the number one most useful hard skill you can take out of the consulting industry, that would be Excel for sure, like on a very high level of professionalism. So it's not about like still in the time of data science and R and machine learning and everything, Excel still fortunately or unfortunately remains a king. So that's my perspective on consulting, but it requires tons of preparation. I guess you know about it. And work-life balance, well, it's not a complete lack of that, but it's a bit problematic. So there is 2 tips I would like to give to anyone who is thinking of entering the consulting industry. Very simple tips, actually. Number one is do not under-prepare, do not underestimate it if you want to go into it, like solve cases, network your way in, try to investigate it a bit deeper, and do not over-prepare. So like speaking about my mistakes and my failures in the far past. So if you actually consider that this is more of the play and you gotta like play some role and you prepare a lot and you do like a lot of cases, like hundreds, you do like tons of mock interviews and so on, eventually turn into a robot. So over preparation again is maybe in some way an under preparation too, because like you could have mastered it, but you just made it a bit mechanical. But yeah, like just be yourself, like do not over invest in it, do not under invest, like find the middle, and you will get in at some point. So that's about consulting. But tech industry can be even a better start for the international career. When I was entering GSB University, it was back in 2008. I think the dream employer for most of the students was actually Gazprom. I think more than half of my class, was thinking that Gazprom is definitely the way to go. It was like more than 10 years, like 13 years ago. Yeah. Since that time, gosh, the world has changed. And now I'm not sure like Gazprom would be like in top 5. Maybe it would for sure. Yeah, but there are many, many alternatives. And one of it is a tech industry. Yeah, why tech can be even a better start for the international career. First of all, it has the same benefits as the consulting industry, but it requires like a much less less cruel preparation hours and normal work-life balance. Well, relatively normal. I think we'll tell you a story or two a bit later about how we were launching in Russia, and it was like definitely a tough days, but still, in comparison to the consulting world, you're gonna probably breathe a bit easier, and you will see just more impact from your work. That was one of the major reasons why I decided to switch from consulting to tech, just to see the impact of what you're doing with your own eyes, like almost immediately. So that's like a bit about my consulting background and a bit about my consulting experience. So moving to my globe trotting experience in again in consulting and tech industry. So one insight I think I can give to you in a way that was quite a discovery for me after I was studying in Madrid, is that actually you are competent enough to work anywhere, no matter where you are from. If you are from Uzbekistan like myself, or from Russia, or from India, or from Africa, if you ended up being like in a good university, if you have like a proper job, you're fully and confidently competitive worldwide. So we had people from 41 countries in our class, and I was like always thinking, oh, people from the States, especially when you look like they're McKinsey is an American company, and it's like probably people that are trying to enter McKinsey in America, they're much more competent than you are. Yeah, just because like they're in America and they prepare hard and they have Harvard in there. No, that's actually not true. I spent, before joining IA Business School, I spent 1 year in consulting. And I was, I think, one of the most competitive students at the program, just because I had like this 1 year in consulting industry. Many people had like also some great experiences, yeah, but for the business school environments, that was like probably consulting was one of the key competences to have there. But there are like a few important nuances to note. Yeah, how to make yourself even more competitive. So first of all, it's languages, of course, and first and foremost, English language. I think no doubt, and there is some good news for all of us here. We are listening to this webinar in English, and I'm speaking in English. So that means that this is a tick mark for you, but not only English. So the more, the better. So if you know any kind of other languages, this already raises your chances significantly to work in any country that actually has this language. So for instance, A while ago, I was really like thinking of doing something in Europe, like maybe in a cinema industry or somewhere. And yeah, like if you want to go to France, most likely you need French. You want to go to Italy, most likely you need Italian. But if you know English and if you can speak English, that's already probably good enough for you just to start the international career opportunities. Well, second, what else? LinkedIn. Do not underestimate the power of LinkedIn. And I'm sorry, I know it is officially not easily accessible on the territory of Russian Federation, but still, this is the most powerful tool for the international career development, just based on my experience. Why? Because there is a wonderful book, and I gotta be frank, I haven't read it, but I just like the name, and I think the name tells it all. So your network is your net worth. So the more people you know, the more chances you have for the interesting career opportunities. And here is like case in point, basically, based on my career. So after the business school, I joined Ericsson as the strategy consultant. And it was also quite a story. So I found the position on LinkedIn, I think in one of the later, like almost, I was about to graduate, yeah, and I saw the position on LinkedIn. And my classmate was actually the son of the CEO of Ericsson North America, yeah, one of the regions of Ericsson. And I actually met him, yeah, the father, the CEO. And I asked, like, hey, Arius, his name was Arius, like, can your father actually endorse me? He said, yeah, sure. And this is how basically I got, not how I got in, yeah, like, of course, it was like the selective process. But this is how my CV got spotted, because from North America, it traveled to Europe, from Europe to the head of Europe. From head of Europe, it traveled to the head of the departments here in Russia. And then they were saying, hey, like, if it wasn't like this reference, probably we wouldn't have invited you to the interview. But because of that, like, we wanted just to check out who this guy is, you know, who is like having this kind of reference. And this is basically how I managed to score a very interesting job at Ericsson and to be good at it. Then, global praxis. Quite a same story, but like in a bit of different angle. So also I found the position on LinkedIn. And the guy from the previous intake from my business school was actually working in the company. And I texted him, hey, can you like tell me anything about the company? And he said, hey, like, sure, actually, you know what? I am in a project in Russia right now. And the guy was from Spain, and the company is from Barcelona, Spain. I'm in the project in Russia right now, so let's have a chat over the beer. He said, whoa, that's quite a coincidence. And we've met, and gosh, we got drunk. But yeah, like, he endorsed me, and it was also quite a competitive selective process. But that's how I got in. And I'm not totally sure it would have been easy without that. And finally, of course, Didi. Well, here is easy. Recruiter reached me out directly on LinkedIn. And thanks to that, I think I am where I am now. So do not underestimate the power of network. And specifically the power of your classmates. Probably like the one piece of advice to give if you're like now still studying, like, just remember the study is like, you know, some projects or like something. If you cannot agree on anything, like, the study projects will come and go, but the relationships with your classmates will stay forever. So just something to prioritize, you know. We had different situations in business school, but it was those who picked relationships over like the grades always won in the end. And finally, cross-functional experience. I've mentioned it already. Yes, the important factor, but let me underscore it again. So if you do cross-functional projects, it is way over, it just raises your visibility in the organization you're doing this type of project. So because like immediately you get spotted, not just within your only vertical, but within actually most likely the whole organization or top management. So yeah, if you have the chance to do something cross-functionally, if you, no matter where you work, in marketing, finance, HR, or operations, like try it. And it's going to be tough. It's usually the tough ones, the toughest ones, I would say. But this is something that gets spotted in the end. So that's a bit of my international, I would say, tips. And feel free to ask any questions. Again, the final insight here I'd give is that after working in Japan, Czech Republic, Cyprus, Russia, or Spain, or wherever, another important insight that besides that you're competitive, people are people everywhere, and everyone is driven with the same kind of motivation. Everyone is thinking more or less in the same way. Nuances matter. Like in Japan, they don't shake hands, you know, and if you try to shake hands, it's going to be quite rude. Yeah, but this is not much related to how people think and how people live business-wise. Yeah, so people are people everywhere, and the techniques and the management, despite like the cross-cultural differences, are more or less the same everywhere. So just bear that in mind. Do not, of course, neglect the cross-cultural differences. It's a huge topic, but still remember that it's not aliens overseas. Yeah, it's the same kind of people. But I guess you know it better than anyone, as you're in the international program, in fact. So, and finally, my final. What positions did you manage? I see the question in Ericsson and after. So at Ericsson, I was a senior strategy consultant, and the same was in global praxis. So it was basically me and a couple of associates doing projects cross-functionally in telecom at Ericsson and global praxis, and mostly in FMCG, in beverages, international beverages. You know, this white and red company with some cool New York commercials. That was my clients all over the world. Hardly to imagine beer in Russia. Yeah, probably. But like it was not an interview. It was more of a friendly call, friendly chat. But then, yeah, that's quite typical for Europe for sure. So just like a few factors, if you have many career choices, obviously. Like the pandemics hopefully is getting over. Well, fingers crossed. And there are more and more job positions, especially for the top-notch university students, some more graduate recruitment programs. So how actually to choose? That's a tough question. Like I put money on the first place, but let me just like scroll it a bit. So I made like that kind of the framework. It's not ordered by importance, not at all. It's only you who decide what's more important for you. It's just like, I don't know, maybe for me money is important. I don't know why I put it on the first place, but yeah, that's like probably the first thing that pops to your mind. So if you use this kind of the factors and try to somehow assess pluses or minuses in each positions that you're considering or the job offers that you have, and if you just try to sum it up in the end, it might give you some analytical approach to how actually to pick your path. Yeah, so what matters to you? Like, is it money or international experience or the growth of career or the like well-known brands of the employer or just an interesting job or if you have faith in the product, location, people, culture, work-life balance, of course. But just bear always in mind that probably analytical approach not always works. It might give you some guidance, but always try to listen to you internally. It's a tough job, yeah, but like just try to ask just a simple question: are you gonna be happy doing that job? Like even if it's like all pluses, like, you know, maybe this is something that just not what you're looking for to do with your life. And there are like 3 pieces of advice, I think, career-wise. I stolen some of them, I gotta be frank. But I think they're super valuable. Like piece of advice number 1 is find the driving function in the organization. And if you score a job in that driving function, most likely you're gonna succeed as fast as the organization succeeds. Like the example of the driving function, for instance, in Didi, would be supply and operations. You know, there's no supply, no business. Yeah. In Airbnb, it's also supply. Yeah, no flats, no business. In Amazon, for instance, it's logistics. Yeah, like no logistics, no Amazon. Or it can be a star product. Yeah, like in Amazon, it could be the Amazon cloud. Yeah, Amazon Web Services, which has been skyrocketing till that. Yeah, so driving function in the organization could be a good guidance to for the job search. Then your growth is easier if the organization is growing. Based on the example of Didi, we were 0 in August in Russia. Yeah, now we are like in 15 cities. In a few weeks, we're going to be in 30 cities. So from 0 to that amount, if you join early, and it's still in early stage, by the way, like you're going to grow as fast as the company grows, because like there is no way for you to escape from this submarine. You know, so if this is something growing, you're going to grow. If this is something that is quite stable, for instance, some industries like oil and gas, for example, or maybe FMCG, yeah, it's like a bit moderate. It's much more stable, but it's like growing slower. So you gotta be either a superstar, yeah, to like reach high positions, yeah, or to work like a lot and gradually and to grow with the organization. Startup, different story. More risks, more rewards. And finally, again, join cross-functional projects. Like I cannot emphasize it enough, but that's an important piece of advice I would like to give to you. And again, coming back, network, languages, cross-functional projects, and I think the international career opportunities are gonna knock at your doors then. So that's from my side, from my like a bit theoretical side. This is more or less it. So feel free to ask any questions in the chat. Max will now tell a bit more detailed about Didi, and yeah, I'm available for all the questions. I'll try to answer in the chat, if any, while Max, or Max, if you have like a moment, if I'm gonna answer just the question from Sanjar quickly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, let's divide our Q&A into parts.
Yeah, okay. So, Sanjar, answering your question, it was not an MBA, important note. It was Master in Management at IA Business School. But yeah, it was partially the loan. Partially, it was my personal savings from consulting industry. It was, just remember, it was 2013. The currency exchange rate was much nicer, the salaries were higher, and the trees were also higher. No, but frankly, it's I think where there is a will, there is a way. So it's I also had a small, well, not a small, but some scholarship. So it was the combination of three: personal savings, loan, plus scholarship. Graduating from IA Business School with a consulting experience, you decided to switch to in-house consulting. Money? Not at all. Quite the opposite. I was thinking back then that I got second shots, you know. So yeah, I joined again the consulting and global practices. Okay, Mariana, thank you. I joined by chance, but it turned out very interesting. Yeah, feel free to ask any questions. I'm not sure if you can hear me well, Max, but probably, yeah, go on. I think there is still some good amount of time that we have.
Sure. Thanks, mate, for an amazing speech. Hi, guys. So, actually, gladly taking over the baton from Yury's side. So, planning today's event, we actually aligned that it would make a perfect sense to shed some light not only on just amazing Yury's experience, but also tell you more about international career, not only from the personal point of view, but also from the corporate one. And definitely, if we're talking about the last one, I would like to put an emphasis on Didi, Russia, and ECA, what stands for Eastern Europe and Central Asia, and tell you actually more about us and the opportunities that we are currently gladly getting to the market. So first of all, actually let's make it interactive. Could you please either text in our chat or raise hands or indicate it by the way, whatever you like. Have you ever heard about Didi before today's event? Awesome, Adam. Cool. Sanjar, amazing. Moran, okay. Wow, that's quite an awareness, I should say. Really happy to see that.
Definitely impressive.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Failure of Uber in China.
Oh, yeah. That was quite an event for the whole industry several years ago, for sure. So, a few words about us. We are the world's leading mobile and transportation platform that works with a very, I would say, challenging and important mission: to grant the experience of the better journey for all our users all over the world. Actually, currently, we have over 60 million trips per day. If we take into consideration the whole range of our business entities that are working on the daily basis for users all over the world. And actually, I would assume that one of our main business areas that you have heard before is obviously taxi, but it's not the only one, because Didi is way more than that. Like I mentioned, we are already a well-established platform that includes ride-hailing, food tech, car sharing, bus transportation, and way more of the different services we actually do have now under our roof. So what do we do basically at the current stage of our development? Right now, we are going through the enormously active stage of global expansion, as basically we are proudly keeping the role of number one ride-hailing player for the whole China. Starting from 2015, actually, we started to go big and go global. And on the very short period of time, actually, for less than 6 years, we actually transformed from obviously a very prospective but still a local player for Asian market to the worldwide competitor of such giant as Uber. And actually, currently, we're operating in 14 plus countries all over the world. In China, in Latam region, we have also pretty wide presence in such locations as Mexico, as Brazil, Argentina, Peru. We are working in ANZ region, which stands for Australia and New Zealand. And actually, like you mentioned, 2020 was hell of a year for us, because actually we decided to penetrate EMEA region, and Russia was the first location of our presence here. And we actually started from a very complete scratch. From the point when we even didn't have a legal entity, we covered this whole way to more than 100 cities and towns all over Russia, which will be launched in 2021. So actually, giving you some deeper perspective on how we do our business and how we actually working on delivering this top-notch experience to our users all over the world. In Didi, we do have several principles. So let's say like safety rules. Safety is one of our first and foremost values, you know. So actually, in Didi generally, and I hope that it actually will also help you to give a clearer vision on which skills you might want to acquire to be more competitive in the global environment. In Didi, we really integrate IT and AI in pretty every single area where we could do so. So actually, we do have two research and development centers. One of them is located in Beijing in China, and the other is based in Silicon Valley, sunny California. So actually, there our teams of developers, of data scientists, of product managers, site reliability engineers, and so on are on the daily basis working on establishing all the safety environment that prevents our users from any possible accident that may in any way be connected with the unsatisfying experience of this platform's use. So actually, drawing some kind of a parallel line with how do we approach such concepts as a team, we really treat our business as a family, as a one global family that works all over the world, disregarding the borders, whether we're talking about Brazil or Russia or Australia and so on. And actually, Didi is a company that, apart from safety, is also cares a lot about diversity. So just to share with you some infographics and numbers here, on the global scale, among all of our 13K plus employees all over the world, 40 of these employees are female employees. And also we consciously and actively encouraging such concept as women leadership within our organization. And also, even if we are talking not only about our full-time employees, but also if we are covering our couriers and drivers, we actually do have around 13.5 female drivers all over the world as our partners internationally. So in terms of our global coverage, as I already mentioned, we are really going big. I should also mention that actually we always aiming towards macro-regional launches. So as you may see, Didi is never getting satisfied by just small monolithic launches. We always cover big and wide regions. And our journey in Russia is actively moving forward in 2021. And for sure, if we're talking about our further plans, not only regarding Russia, by the way, but in terms of the whole EECA region, definitely building the team is our crucial priority, because team is a key to success or to failure for any business, for sure. And actually, you may potentially ask a pretty reasonable question. Which talents are actually at the spotlight of our attention in terms of team development and team establishment? And actually, I do have the answer for you here. So first of all, since our topic is related to the international career, I would say that Didi is a perfect illustration of how international career can actively develop and grow within the organization that actively encourages diversity, mobility, and internal growth for its employees. Just to give you a pretty illustrative example, guys, actually, for every new launch that we conduct, we don't only gather a very powerful and strong local team. We do also actively involve a global launch team. And even here, in terms of Russia, we do have people all over the world working on our development. people from USA, from Colombia, from Spain, from Brazil, from actually all over the world. And that's amazing. That is a really unique opportunity to have such a diversified, such a different experience of an extremely high variety of different cases that people have been working on before. It's just pure magic, I would say. And actually, in terms of Russia, our business currently stands on the several pillars here. We are mainly paying attention to such areas as operations, as marketing, as customer experience as well, which is, I should say, pretty unique business vertical for Russia and CIS region, because usually customer experience is getting replaced in terms of definitions and approaches by customer success or customer service, which is not the same at all. And also definitely professional services, for sure. So basically how our business works here. We do have operations, and you may consider operations as an engine that moves our business forward. Our operations managers working on driver acquisition, on driver engagement. They carefully monitor and manage our marketplace balance. They also taking care not only about the supply part, because like you mentioned, drivers are the most important and critical supply part. Our operational managers are also granting to us as to this service potential users top-notch experience in terms of passengers acquisition and engagement as well. And for sure, definitely we do have people who are deeply involved in constant search of optimization and upgrade of customer journey, who always trying to figure out how we could grant better experience to every partner, to every driver and passenger who use our platform. And hereby I'm talking about customer experience part. Our professional services are widely represented by the range, by the wide range of pretty, frequently met in any enterprise functions, such as HR, legal, finance, public relations, governmental affairs, and so on. And definitely marketing is an inevitable part of the whole process, because we do have people who are helping us to give to grant us higher visibility in the new regions where we are launched, and this is exactly the area where we are heavily relying on field marketing managers. We do have growth marketing managers who helps us to set proper promotion campaign via direct media ad services, and for sure branding. And I would say here the result of such a high awareness level that you demonstrated is exactly the result of their work. So actually, just to draw some kind of a bottom line here, to have plenty of time in our reserve for a massive Q&A session, as we really hope you do have plenty of questions to ask. I would also say that right now Didi is actively hiring new employees all over Russia and ACA. We are in a constant search of a great minds and talents like you are for all the areas we just encountered and came through. And definitely we will be happy to see your interest, and in order to maintain this human touch, you will also find Yury's and mine contacts at the end of this presentation. So we will be 100% open to all of your questions or applications, if any, on their way, and we'll be happy to continue our conversation further, for sure. So I believe that's pretty much it from our side. We are all ears to Q&A part.
Yeah, there are already some questions. Why do you mark like HR in yellow? Like, I'm just curious. Like, that's a discrimination to other functions. And strategy and planning, like where is operation? So okay,
there is
there's like
operations, come on.
there is, yeah, but
there
it
is.
lack like everything else, But HR, yeah, like in orange. Kidding. Sanjar has like actually a very detailed question here, So,
So cool.
Why did you?
So cool.
Yeah. Like, why do you decided to expand Didi taxi service now? Yeah, market is overheated. M&A Yandex and Uber from a few years ago. Car sharing, public transport, pandemics, overall economic state, household, many challenges. So let me maybe give one perspective, and Max, like, feel free to add your comments a bit. So actually, every as you know, every crisis or every like black swan event, it's on one hand, of course, it's a crisis. It's like something that causes the decrease in the economy and so on, the contraction. But on the other hand, it's also a big opportunity. And for us, it was the case of the opportunity, as like the market was like going down a bit. So the competitors were like also a bit like not relaxing, but a bit releasing the strength, and for us it was exactly the moment when we believed, okay, after all the low points come the high points, and actually it will go back, and it will go back twice as much. And with the few advantages that we're having in our company, as first the international technologies, like the chances to give more beneficial conditions to the drivers, to the riders, to the fleet partners, or taxi parks, as we call them. It was exactly the opportunity to join on one hand. On the other hand, the Russian market still has quite some good potential. It's still one of the biggest in Europe, one of the biggest actually in Eurasia, so-called, so there are many things that still can be done here. And actually, taxi services is now one of the alternatives to the public transportation. So that's that was the logic, and it's actually went out pretty well. In 2.5 months after the launch in Kazan, we managed to get the second place in the market, and we still maintain to keep it more or less in all of the cities. So yeah, that's that was the logic. Many challenges indeed, but many opportunities as well. Max, you want to add something to this?
Yeah, first of all, awesome points, mate, and several ones from my side as well. So actually, Sanjar, just wanted to highlight that your approach is a really great one. Such a deep question. That's awesome. First of all, despite market could seem to be as an overheated one, first of all, there is even a public report prepared in, I believe, in 2019.
By the government agency.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So the data is all public, and the market growth is calculated up to 2030, if I recall that correctly.
Yeah, something around that probably.
Yeah. Furthermore, in millionics, so to say, right, in the largest cities of Russia, in Moscow, in St. P, in Novosibirsk or Ekaterinburg even, we are more or less, more than less for sure, familiar with the concept of mobile first. Like, we're all using our tablets, our smartphones to order food, to order taxi, and so on. But if, let's say, we take a look at the whole Russian global scale and take a look at the regions, people there are still pretty usually relying on phone hailing when you just make a call to order a taxi, you know? And this is just one small example of the markets where we could compete and the markets that we could take. Not even mentioning the rest ones, as the list is pretty.
Yeah, that was surprising even for me when I joined, that like phone hailing is still quite a popular thing, even in big cities. Like there is like still a significant share of this. So yeah, there is a way to go for technologists.
Yeah, and also addressing a very logical point that ride hailing was one of the market areas rather severely damaged by the pandemic. You know, we were, I would say, in a pretty beneficial position here, because Didi, being a Chinese company, was the first ride-hailing international player that actually faced this threat. And we actually fought it pretty decently, I should say. So the business metrics in China after the pandemic got recovered on a really short distance to the ones we had before the pandemic. Actually, unfortunately, we couldn't drop the initial numbers, but definitely the recovery speed and pace were amazing one. So actually, in terms of Russia, for us here, the main challenge was to actually went through the remote launch. But we managed to do that.
Yeah, that was like quite a ride actually. And I remember Sophia mentioned in the beginning that everyone is different in different time zones. Yeah, and that was like quite a story for us as well. As like partially we had a team from Latin America, partially in Asia, in China, in Emirates. Yeah, but like we still managed to coordinate with each other. But yeah, that's quite an awesome feel when you're like connected to the whole world at the same time. So yeah, let's some Black Swan examples, by the way. Yeah, like we have here. Well noted indeed, Adam. Maybe like by the way, I just wanted to, we have still a bit of time. Wanted just to share the story of like how I joined. Oh, like that's actually quite a long story. So like, I mean,
but that will be hell of a story. Come on, shoot.
Yeah, like, but actually, yeah, that's an interesting one because I was stuck in Japan back then, and actually to join Didi, I had to arrange my own flights, like commercial flights, you know. So I had to write to. There was like this evacuation flights, and they were not possible. So to join Didi in Russia, I had to actually call to the Minister of Communications to text him in Telegram saying, "Hey, like take us out. We're like Russians stuck in Japan." And he said, "Like, how come?" I said, "Yeah, that's the trick. Like we're still stuck." And there was like a lot of like. How you call it, like all this GR work, you know. I could have scored probably a GR job in Didi after that to arrange a plane. But Max, they're asking, Sanjar is asking for different slides, by the way. Yeah, for the links. I'd probably like just shoot the links to the chats.
Actually, yeah. I mean, if it's okay, we just may send the links directly to our chat, or you could reach me and I will share them to you. We're all right.
So yeah, but the story actually, yeah, like it was quite a fight to come back. But the story I wanted to share just about making the impact, and something that like inspired me a lot in the first days, especially of my work in Didi, is that yeah, we were like very short on resources. and we still are, by the way. Yeah, so it's like still we work in the lean approach. Yeah, but it was funny because in consulting you're used to like make slides and like giving commands to the people, like do this, do that. Like if something goes wrong, you put like some red ball on the like schedule slide saying like, like guys, like you're falling behind. But here, like I had to do at the same time, like the webinars for drivers, landing pages, SMS messages for drivers, some surveys, some calculation on what bonus we gotta put, some estimations of like what should be the price of like some special services for the drivers, some even like arranging some competitions for drivers together with marketing, like buying the cell phone. So everything like in one go. And when like it all launched, like we discover, okay, like some Xiaomi, Xiaomi phones users are experiencing problems with the requests, and they're not failing. So yeah, like this hypercare mode, it was like a total rock and roll. But it's a very intense one, but like it's what they sometimes call hustle. So yeah, like if you know Twin Peaks, like if you join, let's rock, and we're gonna make it for sure. Like it's not gonna be just a slideshow business or thinking business. It's a doing business. So the most amazing feel I remember is when I was doing the car branding initiative. It's like, if you order a cab in Russia, you probably spotted that the car comes with a logo of the aggregator it drives with. Yeah, would it be like Yandex City Mobile, or like in our case Didi? Yeah, and I was dealing with that, and we were starting, and then I was just like walking around Kazan, like city center, and boom, 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 there are like multiple cars like with our logos, like just driving around, and I'm looking at it like thinking, damn, like that's like something I did, it was nothing. Now it's like it's online, it's driving, it's in the streets of the city, so it's basically came to life. And that's like very rewarding feel, I gotta tell you. So yeah, if you're up to it, you know where to go.
Amazing feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, and just to draw some kind of a bottom line here, and to have a parallel between what you just mentioned before in terms of your career perspective development, actually, I would also put a +1 to this idea that for the very beginning of your career, if you are about to start it, such opportunities that usually can be given by startups or by consulting, the most ones that stand more closely to such concept as a 360 experience, where you basically not just focused on one very narrow area, but where you could be deeply involved in numerous amount of activities. It is exactly what could develop you on a really very fast-paced basis. So pay attention to such opportunities.
Yeah, and so like actually to the topic of our webinar, like who we have in the team. Yeah, we have people from China, Latin America, namely Colombia, I think, and Brazil, and Europe, like you name it, United States, of course, Russia and CIS, and we have like huge plans. Sorry, say again, Spain.
Spain, yeah.
Spain for sure. So this is already like that was a very positive feel for me after coming back from like basically I'm based in Russia. Yeah, after working in the international company, international projects, it was like a familiar feel, that you're in this international crowd. And after the business school, I always try to stay in this kind of environments. After the being abroad, you're like just at home, but you're still in the international environment. So yeah, that's a cool cross-functional and cross-cultural experience that you may get for sure. And so yeah, I can only strongly endorse it. So, any other questions we have? I think no. Well, like actually, the positive thing is that I already spotted like some of the colleagues are adding me on LinkedIn already. So well done. Feel free to write any kind of questions in there or in Telegram. And yeah, LinkedIn was one of the pieces of advice of today's webinar. So Max, anything to add? Or should we wrap up? Or maybe someone has like any additional questions? Feel free. I guess we still have a few minutes if needed.
Yeah. First of all, please address us all the questions you have right now. We are more than happy to shed the light on everything what might be part of your interests. And if you don't have any for now, actually, please feel free to reach us further. We are 100% available for you guys.
I liked it, like the question from Sanjar, is it possible? I just wanted to answer everything is possible, man. But like
sure.
not to become introvert again. I think definitely everything is possible again. Yeah, but just feel free to reach out to Max, and I think we can think of something. We are looking both for interns and for the like full-time positions, as I understand, right, Max? So
absolutely,
it's totally discussable. But like even the internships are like quite an experience. Like feel free to reach out directly any of our interns, and they're gonna tell you. Yeah, okay, guys. I think this is more or less it then. Yeah, like waiting for your questions in the direct mail. And thank you for your questions and for your attention and for staying with us. Yeah, like I hope to see you soon in our very entertaining business.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the invitation. We were really happy to be here with you today. Thanks a lot for your attention. You are an amazing audience. So, see you.
See you. Bye-bye.
Best of luck, guys.
Everyone, just small question. First of all, thank you for this amazing webinar. I think it was very inspireful for our students, and they really appreciate your experience and your openness for communication. Students, please don't be hesitate to stay in contact with our guests. And could you please send the presentation to my colleague Anastasia? Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, we'll do right now.
I really enjoyed myself this presentation. It was really interesting.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. And like I see like questions actually coming. Adam, like feel free, of course, like German, English, basic Russian, more than welcome for sure. Like especially if you're fluent in English but based in Russia, or if you're not, even like not basic in Russian. Like it's for us, it's not in my opinion, at least, it's not an obstacle. Yeah, so please reach out directly.
Yeah, absolutely. And one more thing to add here. So actually, since the main topic and the main idea of this webinar was to share with you guys the perspectives and opportunities of your international career development. We consciously added also there a link to the whole list of our roles currently available not only for Russia, but on the international global scale. Because today you're in Russia, tomorrow you are getting back to your home country or to another place. So, I mean, we will have opportunities everywhere for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thanks again, guys, and yeah, staying in touch. Yeah, have a great day, everyone.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Good luck.